Well, let's go ahead and start this thing off at 3:05. We will start it off. I'm going to call to order, and before I do that, first, where's the sign-in roster? Okay. So we go ahead and hang on to it. Go ahead and hang on to it, Linda, so we know where it's at.
He's out there.
All right, so we'll go ahead and do the invocation, right?
Heavenly Father, guide us as we go through the meeting today, learning things from our administrative people, and that we listen and learn and take back the information to our citizens and our villagers, and remind them to please read the updates when they come out with all this information. Thank you, Lord. Amen.
Okay, and one more notice on the roll call. If you have not signed in on the roster, make sure that you get a hold of that dude so we know you're here. Everyone should have received a copy of the minutes from last month's meeting. Therefore, I'm asking for a motion to accept the minutes of the meeting.
So moved.
Okay. Mary Ann Kirk made the motion. Patricia Hoppe seconded it. Is there any discussion on the minutes from last month's meeting? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the minutes from last month? Aye. All those opposed? Nay. So, motion carries. I think it was unanimous. Either that or everybody abstained. So now we're ready for the treasurer's report.
We had one check for $14.98 written during the month for last month's refreshments, and our balance is now $995.36.
All right. And I'm going to embarrass two ladies this afternoon. And this is to welcome our new area reps. We have a new area rep for Area 7, Louise Newslonger. So you stand up so everybody can see your lovely face. Okay. And down in Area 13, Lucky 13, Carol Smedberg. So as of today, as far as I know, every area has an area rep. And that's a good thing, because now all of our residents have representation at council. Okay, committee reports. Just as we did last month, the committee chairs will submit their multi-page verbiage to the secretary, and it will be an addendum to the minutes. But we will also do a brief snippet of a report for those committees. So we'll start it off with the security advisory team, and I am told no report. The emergency preparedness team, or emergency preparedness committee, which I am the chair, I'm just going to bring up one little piece of information that is good for us, and that is tomorrow, as I am told, there is going to be a 9.0 earthquake on the Cascadia subduction zone, and there's going to be something like 11,000 pounds of supplies sitting in Walla Walla, Washington. On the 18th, a bunch of us pilots are going to fly to Walla Walla, pick up those 11,000 plus pounds of supplies, and fly them to a bunch of airports in the Willamette Valley, one of which is Albany Municipal Airport. Now, how does that affect us at Mennonite Village? And how does it affect the Emergency Preparedness Committee? Well, here's the deal. I am a pilot, so I'm going to be one of the pilots flying to Walla Walla to pick up supplies and bring them to Albany. The Emergency Preparedness Committee is looking for volunteers to assist at the airport to marshal aircraft as we land. We get directed to a place on the airport, unload the airplanes, stockpile those supplies. Then on the 19th, 20th through the 22nd, those supplies get loaded onto airplanes and flown to different airports along the Oregon coast. And those of us that are amateur radio operators can participate in emergency communications through this drill, this process. So we as villagers can participate in this exercise, and I think it would be a great opportunity for us to actually see how this is thought to play out under a real situation. So if you want to volunteer to be an aircraft marshaller, a loader, unloader, stockpiler, etc., and if you're an amateur operator and you want to use your radio skills, we're looking for volunteers. So contact me if you're interested and we'll get you hooked up. Yes, there will be safety training for airport operations, how to communicate with pilots using your hands, and all that good stuff. So we're looking for volunteers. Okay, Grounds Committee.
I turned the report in, but one thing I'd like to mention that probably won't, like to mention and clarify, when you put out your kitchen compost, put it in a bucket or something that has a label on it. Do not put it into a plastic bag. It defeats the whole purpose of having compost saved and put back into the soil, because the whole thing is thrown away when it's a bag. We can't expect our workers to empty out the garbage and shake out the bag, no. So put it in a bucket, put it something like that. And also, do not put eggshells in there unless you crush them up in little pieces. And if you would have big chunks of something like whole banana peels, cut them up. Because the smaller the pieces, the faster it will decompose. And also, we are no longer going to have a compost bin in the garden. So please don't put anything in there, because it's going to be removed. And also, I think Garden Committee will tell you more about what's going on out there. Blackberry vines will be cut back out of the trees and then cut back 4 feet bordering the creek. Weed spraying on the sidewalk out by the garden will happen soon. And there's algae accumulated in the lake, and that's going to be addressed by raking it out one rake at a time, because the chemicals they used last time are no longer available.
And now
Yes.
the Garden Committee.
Are they gonna take the bucket?
No, you leave it.
So they're gonna empty the bucket?
Yeah, they empty the buckets, but they leave the bucket. But they don't put it in a plastic bag. A lot of people are putting it in a plastic bag.
Right.
I think they have just,
I didn't know.
they have plastic bags you put in your garbage container, and no, don't do that. Just-
Okay.
Okay, the Garden Committee, Linda.
If you haven't been down to the garden, the plots are ready to be planted when they get dry enough, but some people, eager beavers, have already been there. We do still have 4 flat plots available if you're interested. Ask your people, they could even share a plot if they would like to. And as Barbara said about the compost bins are going to be going away, and was it in the update, did I have a picture of the compost bucket?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, gray hair, can't remember. Also, I want to announce that Ann Schneider, who has been taking care of the nursing home garden for many years, is moving. And if you see her, you know her, give her a big thank you, because she has really improved that area. So, that's it. Yes, the apples are growing. I have little baby apples on my tree.
About that big.
I thinned them, like Jeff told me to.
Okay, at this point in time, Diane Hood, interim executive director.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I had a couple notes come to me by email of things folks wanted me to address, so let me get right to those. The first is a question about the chaplain position. Many of you may know, excuse me, that Byron is retiring. He's going to retire. He'll stay with us through the end of July. I've met with Byron a couple different times. I've also met with Teresa Mosier, and we've created a fabulous job description. The position has been posted, and we are accepting applications and resumes. We have a couple right now, so we're excited about moving forward. We'd really like for Byron to have some time with the person before he leaves us, and of course, obviously, we'll have Teresa for some crossover as well. Any questions on that? All right. Second thing was a question about the projects that we're working on, the expansion of the village, and also the reconfiguration, repurpose, relocation, who knows what it will be, ultimately, of our healthcare services and other amenities. I was asked to clarify who's on the project team. I've referred to the project team, I think, a couple different times. So, project team is myself, Cliff Mars, our CFO, Kristen Gregory, our Director of HR, Human Resources, both Craigs. We get Craig 1 and Craig 2. So we get the facilities side of the house with Craig Glasser, which is really important. And one of the notes this resident talked about is when you are planning an expansion or renovation, it's so important to think about the ongoing maintenance of such new builds or redos. And it's really critical, and I know Craig knows from my experiences in my past position how important I feel his role is to this process. Craig Spivey's role is critical because he's the one who helps us figure out what does everybody want, what do you like that you have, what do you want, and what might someone else want that might come join us at Mennonite Village in a new home. So having Craig part of the team is also super important, both Craigs. The rest of the team is rounded out by our architecture firm, LRS. They have worked with us at Mennonite Village for a number of years, and I will tell you, coming in as a newbie, they really demonstrate, in my opinion, very clear understanding of who we are, what we have on campus, and their ideas, I find, are very in keeping with the mission and the values and also the current programming. The other part of the team is Baker Tilly. Baker Tilly is a firm located in Pennsylvania. They are really overseeing the development, they'll oversee the construction, they'll be involved in the financial side, and they'll also be involved in the marketing side. So they have professionals in all those specific jurisdictions that join us on the calls as need be, depending on what the call's about. But for the most part, at least 3 of them are on every call. We also have a clinical team member from their shop, if you will, a Baker Tilly member who is has clinical background, and she's been working with us on the healthcare side. So that's who's on the project team. It's been really interesting. It's a great group. Any questions on that? And we meet at least weekly. That is all I had prepared. I'm happy to take any questions or pass it on.
I have a
There's admission procedures listed under the agenda.
It'll go to city council in about 6 months.
Will it go to city council in about 6 months?
A great question. It's actually going to go to the city of Albany, we believe, in July for the first blessing, and that's just that we're planning something. Here's kind of what we're looking at, and as soon as we have those papers from our architect, we will share them with all of you. But knowing the architect and her workload, I imagine it's going to be close to the deadline or close to the date we go to the city. We'll have everything out for you. Yeah, I didn't see the agenda, I'm sorry. Admission procedures, okay. Yes, so you're probably talking about Mennonite Home, I'm assuming. So I wish I had Miss Beth here, Beth Walls here. Right now, it's the same as it has been. If you anticipate needing or having a stay upcoming and you want to access your days in the Mennonite home, your villager stay, you contact Mennonite Home just as before, let them know what's going on, what maybe your surgery is or why you feel you need the stay, what your dates are, and they'll work with you. We've had a couple hiccups just in the last couple weeks, which I'm not surprised since we've made a lot of changes. One hiccup has been we do need to have a nurse involved when you come into Mennonite Village. We can do the paperwork and all that. Anybody can handle that for you. But we actually need an RN to be involved when you're being admitted. So timing has been a little bit of an issue. We had a resident who couldn't get here until later in the afternoon, and unfortunately we did not have a team member who was going to be available to help get that person settled in, which was unfortunate, and Beth has addressed that to hope that that will not happen again. That's really the key, and we're pretty full over there, but it changes every day. So don't let that alarm you. Just make your plans, get in touch with the folks, and let them know what your needs are.
Thank you. That resident was in my area and she was really disturbed about this. Did someone get back to her about this?
Yes. The resident and the family member were both contacted, absolutely, yes.
If you'll hand that one to Craig Spivey.
I will.
Next one up is Craig Black.
Question over here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
One little question, has there been a proposal for Ashwood 1? Yep.
Has there been a proposal for Ashwood 1? In what regard?
It's been sitting there.
Just a plan.
Okay, so has there been a plan for Ashwood 1? Not yet. So that'll be part of that second project where we're looking at available space on campus, not only buildings but also land, and the healthcare and amenities. And that's part of that. Thank you.
All right, Craig Glasser.
Okay, so I got a list of things to go over. I'm not going to start with Comcast. I don't want to. I'm sure you don't either. So we're going to start with striping. So I was asked this last month if we're going to do our stripe painting around campus, parking lot striping. We're hoping to have that done by the 75th anniversary. We're still working with the contractor, trying to nail that person down to when they can do that. So we are working on that and trying to get that dates. And when we have those dates, we'll try to communicate that as best as we can. Okay, I just didn't want to start with Comcast, so now I'll start with Comcast. So Comcast, I think we all knew what was up ahead of us when we talk about a big upgrade like this. There's always problems, and there's lots of problems. So I want to say that we went through, we upgraded the village. I want to say I have record of 23 individuals that has still not been upgraded. Now, there could be more, so that's what I'm working with Comcast right now, is getting those records from them so that I understand who has been upgraded, who hasn't. So it has been a challenge to try to get those accurate records so that I can communicate with all of you, because you're probably sitting there wondering what is going on. So I'm trying very hard to get a hold of the right people, to get the right information, and just like you guys, when you call Comcast, you get the runaround. So we're working through this. We're trying to finish out those 23 individuals to get upgraded and try to get this finished out. There have been a couple residents that have asked about, am I getting my equipment changed out? I have old equipment. I don't think that I was paying for it, but what's happening? So if you have a question about your equipment, if you're not sure if you have HD equipment, please contact Michelle and let her know so that we can get you on our list, and then we can verify with what we have. On the back here, right next to the cookies, I felt like that was a good spot to put it. There's a channel lineup of all the HD channels. So they're in the 700s. So if you are in the 700s and you are not getting any channels in the 700s, that means you don't have HD service and you don't have boxes that will have the HD service. So if you grab one of those channel lineups, you can take it back to your area, let your people know. If you're not getting the channels in the 700s, let us know, and then we'll come out and do a quick check. So we're also running into difficulties. Yes?
So I already have the 700s, and they gave me a box anyway, and now it's some of the stations are wavy, which I didn't have before, so.
Another wrinkle in the layers. So yeah, if you had that upgraded, then your box is fine. If you have problems with your box, if you've been upgraded and you're having problems, please put in a work order. We'll try to address that with a work order. Trying to do that as much as possible, but obviously with the larger group that didn't get updated, we're trying to deal with that also. There's also another group that is still having problems getting credits from Comcast. And some of you have reached out to me. I still have it on a list. I've reached out to Comcast. If your residents are having problems if they've paid for HD and they haven't been taken off of that plan and now we're on the bulk account, have them try one last time to call Comcast. If they're still having problems, then contact Michelle and we'll get you on our list and we'll go at it from our end. So if that's still happening, please let us know so that we can get everybody on the list. Right now we're trying to make lists of the issues and then we're working through them as we can. So I know that there's probably lots of questions, lots of uncertainty about Comcast. We will get through this, but I think we all understand it's just going to take some time. So I appreciate everybody's patience, and we're working through this as best we can. Any questions about Comcast?
How do we know what the rate should be?
That's a really good question.
The rate hasn't changed,
So you should not be paying for HD service. Now, if somebody has 7 TVs, we only pay for 3 TVs. So if you have 7 TVs and you have 4 extra boxes, then yeah, you have to pay for those. So it really depends on how many TVs you have. There's a lot of variables. So if you think you are being charged, come talk to us. Reach out to Michelle. We can try to navigate as best as possible, but it just kind of depends on the situation. So yeah, do your best, but when in doubt, contact us. We want to help.
They should bring their bill, right?
Yeah, bring a bill, a copy of your bill. You could email it to us, and then we can kind of track down if it looks right to us or not.
I went over, I called regular Comcast, finally went over to Corvallis. I was billed $115. My next bill will be 52 something. And then my normal bill will be 86.
Okay, so and that's, depending on if you have phone, if you have internet, your bill's gonna look a little different, but that sounds right.
Yeah.
So somewhere in that ballpark. So, any other questions? Like I said, please reach out to us, we wanna help. I know this is painful, and we wanna help as much as possible, so. Just a couple other updates. The garden and grounds. So we've hired two seasonal temporary throughout the summer employees. So we got a couple of those guys. Those guys are just going to be dedicated to edging and mowing and doing all that. We are going to put them to work this summer, and that's what they're just going to go out with a mower and start mowing every single day. So that's going to be two guys that we got seasonal for a seasonal position. And then, we are full in ground, so we have a full crew, we're going gangbusters, there's lots going on. We got the gardens tilled, and so the flat plots are available, and you can talk to the garden committee if you would like to have one. We're working on irrigation, we're about a third of the way through the village, testing all the irrigation, we've got still about 2/3 more, so we're working on that, trying to get that all up and going. And then pressure washing. We've got pressure washing slated for, a couple months back, we kind of reorganized some things. So this is our big change, is we're not pressure washing in the winter. We're gonna move it to the summer. And we're hoping to start that pressure washing sometime in July. I'm not exactly sure when yet. We're needing to get through some of the, seasonal June stuff. But once we're looking good, we're gonna start sometime in July with some of that pressure washing and getting that done. We're doing something a little different. We're not pressure washing, we're doing house washing. So we're not gonna get pressure washing right up into the vinyl siding. I know we've had a lot of problems with some of the older windows that we blow water inside. And so we're really trying to limit the amount of water that we're forcing onto the house. So we've got some special brushes that we're gonna be washing the house with instead of pressure washing. So we're hoping that that's gonna be a really big improvement on our pressure washing. So more to come on that. Jeff will put something in the village update when we get closer to that, and we'll let you know where and who's all gonna get washed. All right, June 15th, we have the Albany Fire Department is going to be taking down the Knox boxes. So about a year ago, we said, okay, we're gonna kind of do away with our Knox box program. We're gonna give the fire department a master key so that they can get into houses if need be, and all these Knox boxes will be taken down. So we've really been waiting on the fire department for them to just have enough time to take the 100, 150, or I'm not exactly sure the number, but we've got quite a few. They have the key that unlocks the box so that we can take them down. So we have set the dates, June 15th, we're gonna do that. And so what I'm telling people is if you're at home and we knock on your door and we unlock the box and there's a key in there that fits your house, we'll give that key to you if you want it, if you're home. Very important. If you're not home and we can't hand you that key, then we gotta take the key and we gotta move on to the next resident. So if you're home on the 15th, we'll give you the key. If you're not, we're gonna take the key and we're gonna destroy it. Or put it in our filing box with keys. So I know some residents wanted to get those keys. If they aren't home, then we'll have to deal with that a different way. Yes?
They are actually taping the box, correct?
Yes, the actual box on the post or siding or wherever.
Are you going to come back and paint underneath?
That is the plan. We are going to.
Maybe a brush and I.
Yeah, it probably won't be the 15th, but when we get kind of an idea of how many, yeah, we're gonna send a crew around to try to get some of those places dealt with.
Thank you.
All right, fire extinguisher in service. So, fire extinguisher service. So on July 8th, Valley Fire is gonna be here. This is an every other year event, and we all love it. We gather all our extinguishers at the area reps driveway. So you area reps, this is what we have done in the past, is we grab all the fire extinguishers from your area, they get put out into your driveway, and then we have Valley Fire come by on the 8th and they check all those extinguishers. Now the big thing to remember and to remind residents is that we have every 6 years, we have to get those extinguishers recharged. So there are going to be about a third to probably 2/5 of the village that they're gonna actually have to physically take your fire extinguisher, take it into the shop and service it, and then return it to you. This can take a couple weeks to get all of those fire extinguishers serviced. So what they're gonna be doing on the 8th is they're gonna be going around checking to make sure that they get a new tag, they get checked, and then if they're out of date, then they'll take those back and get them recharged. One thing to remember is that we don't have enough backups. We don't have 120 backups for all the residents. So if residents feel like they need an extinguisher, if that's their only extinguisher, I know that like on Amazon or online or any store, you can buy a 2.5 pound fire extinguisher for about 20-25 bucks. So I would really encourage residents, that extinguisher may be gone for several weeks, so plan ahead. If you feel like you need an extinguisher at your house, please go purchase one. And it's always good to have an extra fire extinguisher. Put it in your car or put it in, wherever. But have that available. We will not have enough loaners for everybody to have a loaner.
What time do they have to be out by?
I'm gonna say 8 o'clock.
On the 8th.
Yeah, 8 to 8:30, as soon as you can. I can't remember what we've done in the past, and I don't remember what time we've.
Make sure they put their house number on it so it gets turned back to the right place.
Yes, thank you. So yeah, if your address is not on your extinguisher, take a Sharpie and write on the fire extinguisher there, Sharpie your address. That way we get it back to you. Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about this next month at Village Council also. Okay, Oak Creek cleanup. So we have been, I was asked if we have any kind of plans for Oak Creek along the garden area. You know, what kind of cleanup plans are we having? This has been a topic of discussion and probably a variety of the different committees I've been a part of. The disaster committee for fire, security for just being able to see through all that thick brush. It's a good hiding places for certain people that are not welcome. So we're really trying to look at that. Grounds has taken, as they have time, they're taking some time in cleaning up some of the berry briars. Those berry briars, if we don't get them trimmed down, they start growing out to the sidewalks. So we're really trying to cut those back, get them cut back. We are looking at doing kind of a big cleanup and trying to get some of those berry briars thinned down. That way we can get, make it look a little bit nicer and try to thin down some of the brush and just, all the stuff we have down there. So no plans as of yet, but that's something we're actively talking about in a lot of different conversations. Me and Jeff have talked multiple times about this. I know some residents, I've heard both sides. They're all for it, but then there are some that really are against it. So we're not going to please everybody. We're going to try to take the best attack as we possibly can and try to get it cleaned up as much as possible so that it can be enjoyable and it can be a safety. We're looking out for the safety of residents. If we have, if there's potential fire danger, we want to get rid of it. If there's security issues, we want to get rid of that also. So we're really trying to look at the overall safety and security of the village residents. So I think that's all I have. Any questions on any of those? Yes, Jen.
Can I just make a comment on your fire extinguisher? We won't be meeting at Village Council until the 11th.
Right,
So
we bumped that.
The information can go on the update for June.
Yeah, so we'll put another reminder in for the update. That way all the residents get to know. But yeah, you guys can take that back to your areas too. All right, with that, I think we're done.
Okay, so I'll just kind of reiterate what Mel said at the beginning of today about the AccuShield. If you are able to get the mobile app on your phone or on your tablet, I would encourage you to at least try to do that. Maybe talk to some of your residents. I know several of you today use the mobile app. Had all of those questions answered before you got here to the building. When you got up to the kiosk, you just need to scan that code in and get your temperature taken, and it was quick. I realize not everybody has that ability, but if we can get more people on the mobile app, it really would speed up so that there isn't a long line for you to wait in. But there was good conversation out there.
How do you get the mobile app?
The mobile app, you can find it at your Play Store. So the Play Store for Android, or I don't know what Apple is called, Apple Play?
App Store.
App Store.
The April 8th Times details it.
The April 8th Times shows the details for using the AccuShield and getting the mobile app. Thanks, Margot.
Yeah, and all you have to do is do a search for AccuShield.
Yeah, it pops right up.
It'll pop right up.
Yeah. And also, just to reiterate that, yes, correct, if you screen in once in the morning, you don't need to screen out when you leave and come back and screen in and screen out. It causes a lot of bottlenecking there and congestion, which leads to your frustrations. If you know you're coming back later in the day, you just can go and then come back and not have to screen in again. Just screen out at the end of the day, at the last visit. Now, I don't know the specifics. I think the specifics may change at the licensed care areas for screening in, depending on what level they're at with positive tests. So if you're going to a care area, there's a possibility that you have to screen in their building, even if you've already screened in here for the day. So just be aware that if you're going to visit somebody or do something at the care area, depending on what's going on inside their building, you may need to screen in over there per the regulations they have to follow. Any questions on AccuShield? Okay, your village picnic is coming up on the 16th of this month, and we are going to have it over at the pavilion, and reservations are being taken through this Thursday, the 9th. We have to put a max number of people, and we have to know how many people to prepare to serve. So we have that number. We're getting a lot of reservations, which is going to be a fun day. An evening meal. It's going to be seating at 5, dinner service at 5:30. We'll have some staff over there to serve. Diane will be there to serve. And I think we have a handful of board members that will be there to serve some drinks and lemonade. Lemonade. They'll be there serving lemonade and maybe having dinner with you. So we look forward to that as well. We'll have a local band there playing, a 3-member band. They're called the Bush Pilots. They'll be playing some upbeat country music. So their videos look like a lot of fun. 3 gentlemen from the area, Bush Pilots. Any questions about that?
And now, Craig Spivey.
Oh, okay.
I have my own microphone. Oh, just in case you want to know, end of the 6th inning, the Beavers are up 6-5. Not that I've been monitoring that while you were speaking, but anyway. I sent the census data to Debbie. You'll get that in your minutes. But I just wanted to highlight some of the marketing events that are coming up. It's going to be a very busy summer. You just heard about the village picnic, which is great. The next week, June 23rd, Thursday, during the day from 1 to 3, we're going to have an open house at Quail Run for everybody in the village. And it's going to be a great time to come and take a tour of Quail Run. There will be goodies there. There will be music and all that good stuff. So it should be a fun opportunity, and we're just trying to get that chance to open up Quail Run a little bit and let all of the villagers see what's actually there, meet some of the staff and the residents there as well. So that's going to be from 1 to 3 on the 23rd. We're going to have the bus come around. If anybody wants just to hitch a ride over there, we'll do that as well. Now that evening, as soon as you get home, take a quick nap, come back. Because at 6 o'clock, we're going to have our first concert and dessert for the year. We're going to have the Albany Swing Band, big band sound. We had them last year. Everybody had a lot of fun. We only had one couple that was brave enough to dance, so that's the challenge this year. Rufus and Paula were the only 2, so don't leave them alone this time. So I hear it's going to be cobbler and ice cream there at the pavilion at 6 o'clock on the 23rd. And then in July, of course, you've heard a little bit about our 75th anniversary coming up. This is going to be a lot of fun as well. This is going to be 2 and 1.5. It's going to be several hours of fun recognizing our 75th anniversary. So Friday night, July 29th, there will be a barbecue dinner, free barbecue dinner, like that. Followed by a concert by Bethel Mountain Band, which many of you know and have heard and certainly are very ingrained in our history here. So they're going to be playing a concert that night. Then the morning, July 30th, from 9 to 2, it's going to be a kind of a country fair type of a deal. Got a lot of fun vendors that are going to be at the pavilion. We're going to have trolley rides. We're going to have prizes, food, more live music. It should be a lot of fun. And then on Sunday the 31st, from 3 to 4 in the afternoon is going to be a service at the pavilion. And they're going to have music there. Our chaplains are putting that on, so that'll be fun. So that's July 29th, 30th, 31st. Okay, the 75th anniversary is going to be a fun time. And then finally, yes.
Is that open to the entire?
It's going to be the whole community of Albany, Lynn, Benton, everybody. So it's going to be, we're going to be sending out invitations to, well, you'll hear a lot on, as we'll be advertising it on the radio and in the newspaper, we're sending out direct mail. So this is a big marketing event for us. It's a chance for us to open up our campus to the whole community to come around. So we usually, when we have this, we'll have about 500 to 600 people on the campus. So that'll be a lot of fun. Any other questions about the 75th anniversary? Extra points if you dress up in 1947 clothes. So, then we just secured this last week. So on August the 18th, it's a Thursday night, that'll be our second concert and dessert. We have a group called the Easy Targets, which are a fun group out of Corvallis. They're a 1950s cover rock band stuff, so they'll be playing all the oldies but goodies. And we'll have dessert, Kona Ice will be there as well. So that's on August the 18th at 6 o'clock out at the pavilion. Again, concert and dessert there. So a lot of stuff going on this summer. And so just book your calendars. You're going to be very busy. So should be a lot of fun. All right, thanks.
Okay, there is no old business been identified to discuss. There has been no new business identified to discuss. No resident has requested to speak at council. Therefore, items 11, 12, and 14 on the agenda are scratched. We now move into the area rec questions. But before we start handing the microphone around, I just want to let people know that we are going to continue the Map Your Neighborhood training after this meeting, thus the coffee and the cookies and fake stones and stuff. So it's now your time. There we go. Okay, we'll go to Linda and then over to Barbara.
Are the chairs and tables Ash 2 patio, what happened to them and are they being replaced?
I guess I didn't realize that they were gone, but I think that they're getting cleaned up and taken care of for the sun weather. We are trying to make sure that they're cleaned up and pretty and in good shape for people to use them.
I want to give kudos to the grounds committee. They have done a very excellent job on the flowers out front. It's very welcoming and nice. And thank you, Jeff.
A couple of our area residents had an idea that they'd like to share with everybody. It's about the Mount Menno, which you all may know is at the end of 47th between the homes and the field. They propose that the grassy knoll be made into a permanent park to include a few trees, a bit of landscaping, and maybe a picnic table or two. It's become a favorite of several of the residents to have that as a favorite spot to go for peace and quiet and maybe an escape from all the bad news that's on TV these days. So anyway, they just wanted to put that idea out there for consideration.
Okay, Sue?
I have just two things. One, you'll be happy to know that the Comcast people on Iris Lane boy, they were fast. Comcast was there at 8 in the morning on Sunday to get things fixed. So thank you very much. And then I do want to express continuing concern about the fact that residents in my area are hearing about when things went wrong with transitions. It would be very, very helpful if we could have a number that they can call or a sheet of information talking about how things transition in the village. Because I get, when I got back from vacation, I had 14 calls about, 14 emails about transitions. People are afraid they would not be able to have care. It's a very big issue for my residents, and I do want that to be a priority.
So just real quick on that, I just want to remind everybody that we have Charlene Archer in our department. Charlene's back there. Stand up and give a wave. I know you love doing that. Charlene's job is resident services here for independent living. So really, what does that mean? That means when you need something, resources, referrals, assistance, an advocate as you're transitioning or whatever's going on in your home for outpatient therapy or what have you, Charlene is your person to talk to. She is on the back of every update, so you can refer people to the update to see her name and her phone number. She takes questions by email and phone calls and walk-ins. She's here Monday through Friday. She is your person to go to. So I'm sorry that you had bombarded by so many.
I was going to say who, and I know Charlene did it. I'm happy to know you do some advocacy, because I take a lot of heat on the position.
And she probably would come to your area meeting.
Absolutely, absolutely. Remind your residents that if you want any of us, for whatever the topic may be, we're here for you. We'll come to your area meetings. We've been to several area meetings, answering questions and talking about transitions. And Charlene is working on a project right now to get a frequently asked questions or an expectations list or whatever you're going to call it. She's working on that piece of information that will be standardized across the board there for basic questions.
That would be perfect. Thank you.
She helped Shirley and I out real well at the end of the day.
Okay, Judy.
I have three things, but I'll make them quick. The first one is kind of a ground crew thing. One of my residents wondered if there was ever a thought of doing a greenhouse, you know, kind of like the raised bed thing. So I'm just throwing that out there because he mentioned it to me and I thought it was kind of a neat idea. The second thing is the garage sale is coming up on June 24th and 25th, and I wanted to see if whoever in administration is kind of not in charge of that, but to make sure that the ads are a little better this year. Because last year, there were no signs out in front, which usually there are. There was an estate sale, but it was the beginning of the campus, and very few people ever got back to the whole part of the campus. And a lot of effort went into, after 2 years of having that set up, and then it was not well attended that far back. One suggestion, I know it was advertised in the Democrat Herald, which actually I got a response from that, but there's now Facebook Marketplace, which is really well received for Facebook itself. But just, you know, advertising it a little broader because it is popular with, you know, the surrounding area to come here for that. And I don't know if they put signs down 34th or 47th or whatever, but just some signs. So that was one. That was two, actually. The last one, it was just a suggestion. You know, as staffing keeps coming up as a topic, and I think people kind of wonder when we'll be back to pre-COVID status. And I wondered if it was possible, like maybe in a village update, to put, you know, there is such a focus on the care areas, but staffing has also been an issue in other areas. I don't know if the restaurant is an area still. You have now said the grounds is full. But I think people like to know, and then we see a progress in the positions being filled and where they're still trying to be filled. And I think a lot of people kind of want to know. So I thought maybe in a village update, there could be a reference or something. That's it.
Okay, Carol Smith, I'm sorry. We'll come to you next, Carol. Gary?
My question is regards some of the preparedness stuff that we learned at the last meeting. First of all, Janelle Huffman pointed out to me that most houses have a wrench that's attached to their gas meter. And so I went out and looked and I found it. I had never seen it because it's painted gray just like the piping and kind of walls in the background. So I pointed that out to the people in our room. The question that I got is from the area, people in our area is,
Just a minute, Gary, you're gonna have to eat that microphone.
is the village going to actively help us find the meter, the water meter turnoff? Because several people looked and couldn't find it, and I looked for mine and I couldn't see it, so we're gonna need some help in that area.
Craig's shaking his head yes, so apparently there will be some sort of assistance there. Okay, Carol Smedberg had her hand up next. Welcome, Carol.
I have 4 things. Number one is the client is requesting a pet station on the corner in the intersection of 53rd and Clay. And I guess that's where 3 different dog walk circles intersect.
You're talking about right up here.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, 53rd and Clay. Craig?
Okay.
So we'll look at that. I know we have a variety of pet stations kind of all throughout campus. We've looked at the different, where they're at, where they're located. We can look at that request and see what we can come up with.
Okay. If that is not possible, she would be able to pay for one and donate it. So
Okay.
let me know on that. Another one, a person was out, a resident, after midnight, putting boxes from their garage into the car, and the Valley Merchant car drove by and didn't even see her. And so she's wondering, what is protocol if the Valley Merchant sees something unusual or something strange? Do they report it to anybody here? Do they call 911? What is their protocol?
Yeah, depending on the situation, they would notify me if they've seen something or that doesn't look right. Obviously, if it's an emergency and somebody's doing something illegal, they would call the police directly.
Okay.
At midnight, yeah, that's late at night, but if they feel like that was a residence, it really just depends on the situation.
Okay. They're also concerned about the non-city water, that I guess there's a well for residents here or for Quail Run. How often is that water tested?
Yeah, so we have 3 wells on campus, and those are for irrigation. So we don't use those wells for any kind of potable water for the village, for the care areas. We have the ability to do that in a disaster, is we can flip some valves and we could get, water. Those wells are tested. Off the top of my head, I don't remember how often, but I know all of them are tested and, they're logged.
Okay. This resident would like to know how they could get to be able to read the report on the water.
I would have them reach out to me and they can ask me whatever questions they have, me directly.
Okay?
Can we find out how frequently it is tested too?
Yep, I can follow up with that, yep.
And someone was concerned about the price of the picnic. I guess it had been free in past years, and this year it was $16.
Yeah, we just kind of did a reconfiguration of the different events that we put on throughout the year. and kind of mixed it up a little. We are planning still to have an event per year that is at no charge to the residents.
And it's 13.
And yeah, and I believe it's $13, but,
Thank
yeah.
Mary Ann?
I have a kind of a long list, I'll do it quickly. In Area 11, the guest house is a top priority for everybody in Area 11. And the other comment was, please tell us about housing developments in the area. For instance, we hear by rumor there's a new housing development coming across the railroad tracks on the east end of campus. And also, the one that's coming down Columbus, we heard about that some, 6-8 years after the city knew about that. It impacts us in traffic on the street and also just the congregation of more and more people in the area. So as soon as you find that out or can find that out, would you just let us know? It's just information. The other comment was, please tell us more detail about the security systems on campus. I guess that could be in the update or... and another was, the minutes said you were talking about signage on campus. Can you include residents on that committee? This person said, I would be sad to see this place covered with signs. So she loves being here without signs in your face all over the place. Another area, are we still a continuing care community? And this is something that Sue said earlier. Many of us have used our life savings to buy into Mennonite Village a continuing care community, but some of us are not able to get into rehab or nursing care when we need it, particularly on a Friday evening or any time on the weekend. Can we schedule can we post a schedule at Mary's place? Maybe on a refrigerator so we have some idea. My last area meeting, I ran into game night, and I wasn't even aware people patiently were sitting outside the door. Everyone was so sweet. So knowing that's really going to help us. The other thing I wanted to say is, I live on the lake. Either we need to remove the algae from the lake, or we need to remove the lake off our advertising. Because we have these beautiful photographs of the lake and on television, and then people come here and see the lake, and it's kind of horrifying. What else aren't they telling us? Final thing is, can we begin ladies' luncheon, monthly birthday parties, and men's breakfast? When can that happen? So that we're beginning to feel a little more normal. The last thing I feel sad about, through COVID, have we turned into a them, staff, and us residents? No longer do we seem like a team, staff and residents working together. Please clarify what staff support can residents expect. I've had 3 experiences this last couple of weeks where I requested paper copies. I requested 1 cup of sugar and 1 cup of milk a month to support the tea parties, and the radio theater requested paper copies, and we were told, no, we don't do that anymore. We used to be able to make our own copies, and I know that that puts an extra burden on the staff, but I'm just asking for clarification. What can residents expect when they are involved in a new activity here on campus in way of support? That's it.
One thing, if you could, all of you, if you could have some of those questions in by Wednesday of the week before the council meeting, it'd be very helpful. Then they can have an answer for you.
I have two items. The residents of Area 4 are asking when will the women's and men's breakfast be reinstalled or restarted, resumed. And the other one is something probably out of our control, is some issues we've had about mail being sent to the wrong boxes. The best one example of that is that one of the residents had this federal thing that recently gave $2,000 federal put into the wrong box. Fortunately, the next door neighbor returned it to the appropriate person. I don't know what we can do about functions that the post office does, but we are having problems with getting misses sent into the wrong box.
I'd like to respond to that real quick is, I think that as a resident of a community, and myself included, when I've had misdelivered mail or what have you, and I've inquired at my local post office, I was directed to the Postmaster General. So if there is mail, your mail being delivered to your neighbors, or you're receiving mail that's not yours, that is beyond the third-party mailings and the junk mail, if it's recurring, I would talk to the Postmaster General so that that person is aware of the error. And the men's and ladies' breakfast, you'll probably remind me the details of it, but if I can remember, you guys led it. You guys led it. You organized it, you scheduled it, you made the reservations for it, that sort of a thing. So if it's something that is wanted back on the schedule, please.
Volunteer.
We need volunteers. We have a committee for that. Well, we have a committee for it. I don't know if we have a leader for it. If you want those sorts of things for recognitions and things like that, then please let's get the volunteers back working on them.
We had a leader for that, didn't we, Margot?
I think so.
Yeah.
Then COVID hit.
But we do need some more leadership. You know, there are certain people that do a whole lot for this village, and they've done it for many, many years, and maybe it's time to give them a break. I'm not saying that we want to push them out of the position, but some of them may just want a break. So we need some people to step up and say, hey, I'll give you a hand with that. So, for those who want to have the men's breakfast, the women's breakfast, the memorials, the birthdays, etc., step forward, contact me since I'm the president of the council, and we'll start putting things together, and then I'll talk with Jennifer to get the schedule and see what we can put together, okay?
A lot will depend upon the kitchen crew, if they're full or not. Because I went over about the men's breakfast, and right now, they're a little light on, from what I understand, on staff for Saturday morning.
I got a barbecue somebody can use. I don't do barbecues, but I got it for emergency purposes. Maybe I could test it out and make sure it works. Or somebody could test it out for me and make sure it works. Did he cover what you were going to say, Linda?
Well, that's what was that it depends on the Ash 2 dining room.
Right.
For at least the women's
And
breakfast.
that's where Jennifer can get involved and let us know.
Yeah, if
Whoever
it's
wants to run it.
feasible.
Well, I would challenge you too to think outside of the box. You know, we're in a different world now, in a different situation, and just because we used to do it that way, I've been told by all of you, doesn't mean we have to continue to do it. So get your creative thoughts on what we can do, and we're here to do it.
Now, there is one other thing, and I'm going to jump way out of the agenda here, because Craig's getting antsy. I can see his foot tapping on the floor because he wants to get that TV turned on. Some time ago, Janelle and I instituted what we called the flash things. Like we had flash cookie, cake, and ice cream. We had flash salads. And that kind of went away because of COVID. But I'm kind of kicking the idea around of having Friday night movies at the pavilion. because I've got a big screen, projection screen that I can put up. I've got the projector. I've got a bunch of DVDs. Some of them you folks may not be too interested in because they tend to be military stuff. But we do have Harry Potter and the trilogy, you know, Lord of the Rings and Happy Feet. Happy Feet actually went over pretty good when we did that one. So we can start putting that back together. And just for a quick show of hands, all those in favor of that, this is not a motion, but all those in favor of movie night at the pavilion?
Sure. Does that mean we have to volunteer? I'm gonna put my hand up. I mean,
Okay, Craig.